Yeah, I think, oh, we're gonna be famous. We're gonna be on YouTube, and then they're like, no, the camera's off.
No, I can switch it to you if you want to. I definitely can.
Someone will go watch me.
I If you wanna be on camera, you can come and sit beside me here.
That's okay. I'm okay, thank you.
Hi, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God, Amen. احنا usually in our meeting, lessons in life, we talk a lot about so many things, and I know that we uh, we touch topics and subjects that might affect our relationships and our development and our behavior and our well-being. And sometimes topics might be a little bit far-fetched. You see where the relationship here, but in fact, if we don't work on ourselves, uh, we are not gonna be successful in relationship. And honestly speaking, relationship is not the target or the objective, but we are always impacted if we are good, if we are healthy, if we are at peace, if we are calm, if we have motivations, if we have purpose, if we feel valued, if our self esteem is balanced, you're gonna find that this will really impact everything, every aspect of your life, including relationship. And when I say relationship, doesn't only mean an intimate relationship. When somebody comes to confess that he has anger issues, I always tell him, God forgives the anger issues. Tell me what is underneath. And he said, what is underneath? I said, anger is usually a secondary thing or usually a mask. What is going on? Because it's like a symptom. We don't want to just treat the symptoms, we want to know what is going on deep inside. So, this is an introduction because when I send the emotional intelligence thing, uh, somebody asked me, so what is this? How this is related? And I said, well, this is really related. Uh, I want to ask you a small, tiny exercise. Why don't all of us close our eyes now? And I want you to think about last week or the week before, and maybe let's start with 1 week. And tell me if you ever thought of how emotional you are or how intelligent your dealing with emotion is, or if you ever thought of that emotional intelligence thing, or you ever recognized your feelings. Because our emotions, despite that they are the driving in many of our interaction, we don't think about them. If I ask you to close your eyes because I want you, if you thought of your emotion and recognized your emotion, or were aware and conscious of your emotion in the last week, raise your hand. What about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month, a year? You see, I ask you to close your eyes because I don't want anybody to see who raised his hand and who did not. But if I count how many people raised their hands, I can count them in one hand. We don't focus much on our emotions. Sometimes we even intentionally skip recognizing our emotions because they are scary sometimes and maybe uncomfortable, right? Sometimes. How about we open our eyes now and I want you to tell me in your own words what do you think emotional intelligence is? I just put a 10 minutes video like last week about just the general emotional intelligence from Christian perspective, where it has lots of verses and so forth. But I want to know in your own word. And today is not an academic talk; it's an interactive discussion. What is emotional intelligence? What is EI? It's different than employment insurance, but it's emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence in your word, your understanding of that? Go ahead. Mm. That's beautiful, but it is only one side. One side of emotional intelligence is to be aware and to also recognize the other's emotions and feelings and trying to be empathically present and supportive and all of that. That's a beautiful thing. But is that everything? What else? What do you think? طبعا I know Nardine is sitting with us. If I knew beforehand that she is coming, she would be sitting here in front of you talking. Nardine, I know that this is her area of expertise. She teaches that in university already, so it is very humbling to sit and listen to me. But I want to hear Nardine. What do you think?
I think exactly what you said. And then for me, the part that's most important personally is being aware of that for yourself
Ah,
and just noticing your own
that's it. So emotional intelligence is being aware, recognizing your own emotions and the emotion of the others. Because sometimes I could either be centered around my own and ignore everybody else, and usually we, I think, parents usually fall in that a lot. When I feel I'm anxious about something, and I end up making comments to my kids, and all of a sudden I don't even recognize how my words affect them. Or as a parent, also, I could be captivated in my kids' emotion and forgetting about myself. As a priest, because I don't want parents to think that this only applies to parents. And no, no, as a priest, uh, I think a month ago, I was reading a dissertation about 200 pages of emotional intelligence and the application of emotional intelligence in clergy life and burnout. I enjoyed that dissertation when I was reading. It was amazing because it talks a lot about how the priest could hide his own feelings and emotions to become emotionally exhausted, depleted while serving others, worrying about the others. And in fact, it reminded me of a verse I wrote once in one of my research papers. It's from Song of Songs as well. It says, "They made me the guard of the vineyard, but my own vineyard nobody takes care of. جعلوني ناطورة الكروم." They made me the observer or the holder of the vineyard, the church, the people will be. But my own vineyard, who will look after? I take care of people's emotions, I support, and but what about my own? That's why what Mark says and what Nardine, they complement one another. Any other thought of what is emotional intelligence before we move forward? Any other thought of what it is? Go ahead, John. Yeah, absolutely. Mm, mm,
That's how directors got to deal with it.
Absolutely. And that's why Nardine wants to say something right now. Please go ahead.
No, I agree with the fear thing because I think like the awareness and knowing how to is also a skill. But
Yes.
before you do that, I think you need to get comfortable with the fact that it might be scary, but also having faith that we're built to have these emotions. And God
Yes.
has us like we can do it. It's scary, but we can do it.
Absolutely. And in fact, go ahead. Yes.
No, that was it.
No, I think there are some cultures that like emotions, you can tell someone I love you. That's not okay. Even your mom and dad, that's not okay.
Yes.
Like some cultures they have that very strict the way they're raised up, very strict. They can't really cry, they can't have any kind of
Yes.
emotional touch, they're not allowed to.
Yes. Please make that comment because that's really important.
Cry.
Yes. When you are raised,
You're a man, you shouldn't cry. No, it's just not even like even women. Sometimes they're like to that extent of their
yeah, don't be weak, right?
and sometimes the dad doesn't wanna hug
Yes.
their kids because it's
No, I am the dad, right?
yeah, then it doesn't make any sense. But that's the way.
Can I share something about the cultural part because that's very important. That do you want to say something? Okay, you're adjusting your glasses. Okay, I want to share something about the culture thing. First time I was introduced to the concept of emotional intelligence on a personal level was maybe 6 years ago or 7 years ago. I was trying to apply for masters and so forth, and the university I applied to, part of the admission process, they actually ask you to do an emotional intelligence assessment, and they look at your scores. Obviously, it's an expensive assessment, and when they look at your score, they determine whether you are allowed to take that master or not. So when I did my emotional intelligence test, I received a phone call from the head of the department, and she said, I look at your application right now, and before I say I accept you or not, I want to meet with you. I said, okay. So I went. She was so amazing. She started by saying, you have an engineering degree and you have never studied psychology before, and your resume has lots and lots of engineering jobs and projects, billions of dollars, and so forth. Yes, so why are you interested in psychology? I said, well, I want to help my people, my congregation. I became a priest, blah, 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 blah. So that part ended. Then she moved to the real point, and she said, your emotional intelligence scores is one of the highest we received in the university. So it's either you are lying and faking right away, kid, or there's something else. I have a theory, but I want to hear you first. I said, okay. So she started to talk to me. Tell me about your background. Tell me about the Coptic church. Tell me. So when I start talk about that, she found that I talk a lot about the martyrdom, the perseverance of the Copts, the oppression of the Copts in Egypt. And I said, that's exactly my theory. You are coming from a culture that has always been tortured, coping mechanism. So basically, you learn to rejoice in suffering. And that's why your emotional intelligence score is that high. She did a few assessments. She actually, like, she's an amazing lady. Later on, she accepted me, طبعا, and then we were invited for a seminar after that, maybe a year after. And then she was talking about emotions and how emotions really crucial part of our life. And then she came to me and said, can I have your permission to share your score in front of everybody? I said, sure, go ahead. She was British, by the way. And for a British person to the British culture is different than our culture, but she recognized how oppression, how martyrdom, how the inheritance of the Coptic antiquity and history shaped my views and affected my emotional reactions to matters. And she talked about my scores and explained how this is a crucial part. She was talking about cultural competence. What I'm saying is, you're absolutely right. Coming from a culture, people either will cry and weep every single moment, or they will feel shy if they do so. Either they have a way to express emotions vigorously or to suppress emotions severely. Culture is important. Culture, country, uh, ethnicity, family. A family, as Tassoni said, could raise a kid and say, well, you are a man, you cannot cry. Who says so? Men cry. They have tears. God created them with it. I love what Nardine said when she said that we need to be aware of our emotions. In fact, when I look at emotions, not only the negative ones, but it could be the positive ones. You know what? I'm thinking now, and I want to demonstrate to you something really amazing. Imagine with me that you are walking in valley, and around you here and there are mountains. Uh, the mountains are the tops, the high, these are the positive emotions. Valleys and meadows and all of that, these are the low emotions. Sometimes we go low, sometimes we go high. Emotional intelligence is actually your ability to recognize, am I on the mountain or in the valley? And to be safe over there, not to close your eyes and say, no, I'm not on the mountain. No, you are on the mountain. You are happy, you are jumpy. That's fine. Okay. Express your emotions. Or, yes, I am in a meadow. I am in a valley. It might be muddy, swamp sometimes, but I will go through it because I can't stay here. Recognizing whether it's high or low, knowing your surroundings, trying not to be afraid so that you escape from, right? Or trying not to drown deep as well and stay there. I was while I maintain confidentiality as well. I want to share with you a phone call I had yesterday. No names, nobody, nothing. An amazing man was a calculator in his mind. Like me, he is also analytical, a lot numbers and all of that. But I was treated, thank God. Yani I have also respect for emotions. He hasn't yet, and his wife is so emotional being, and every time they talk, they fight. And I told him, just share with me what are you fighting about last time? Share with me the scenario. Then I recognize right away he does not really relate to her emotions خالص. Because every time she's expressing something, he would say, you know what, forget about this, خلاص, don't worry. There is no forget about and don't worry. I explained to her that this is his world view, his culture background, analytical, blah, 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 blah. And then I looked at him and said, my friend, let me show you how much I respect analysis and numbers and engineering and all of that. You are at that level of awareness, understanding, cognitive awareness. She is very emotional being. In your view, she is very low in the mud. قال لي, yes, Abuna, thank you. To know it. When she is in the mud, you need to kneel down, bow down, lift her up from that mud to the higher level with you. Don't stay there, but lift her up. Go to her level. Yes, Habibti, I know you are worried. I know that this is troubling. I know. But you know what? We are okay. Don't worry. By the way, if you want to know why you are okay, let me just show you even by numbers. And explain to her like talking to a kid. 5 plus 5 equals 10. When we get 5 fingers and 5 fingers, we put them together, they are 10, right? She needs to listen to that from analytical perspective because she has nothing to do with analysis or numbers. Talk to her like, I recognize how you feel. I recognize your fear. You have all the rights. Validate her. Go to her level and lift her up. If she is worried about numbers, because she doesn't know how to calculate, for example, go down but lift her up. Obviously, it's not about mathematical thing, but it's about everything. When I am at go ahead. لا, go ahead.
I think you said he's high up, but he's high up in analytics, and he might be very low in emotion.
Absolutely, he's zero emotions.
And she might not be as high as him analytically, but she's so full of emotions. So she has a wealth that he can
Absolutely.
teach it from.
Absolutely.
He is lacking,
Yes.
and she has abundance.
Yes.
And it is because if I was this girl and he looks down at me and says, "Oh, I'm going to lift you up," you're lifting me up where you were actually dry. I need you to come
Yes. Yes.
and learn from me so we can actually enjoy the feelings.
Absolutely.
So that's the only comment I have.
No, actually, and thank you for saying I want you to finish first because I was gonna say then I finish with how much I respect emotions.
Yeah.
You are at
Yeah.
that high mountain of emotions, and
Yeah.
he is zero emotions. Basically, what you need to do, you need to go down with him. He wants to speak numbers. Go down with him, speak numbers. See, I understand numbers, I understand blah 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 blah. But let me show you what it means emotionally. When I look at the bank account, I get triggered by anxiety and this. And honestly speaking, maybe I don't know what is happening, but deep inside there is that icky feeling that something wrong will happen. So he doesn't understand emotion. When it is time to talk number, he will go down to you. When it's time to talk emotion, you will go down. Then we meet. One of us will lift us to the mountain of numbers, the other one will lift us to the mountain of. Then I told them something really nice, which is I said, why don't we build a bridge? Spend time, it like do disclosure. Speak about your worldview to the person in front of you so that they know where you're coming from. And she talks about herself and her emotions so that he knows where she is coming from. You're absolutely right. I'm not like, as I told you, I was treated. Half of my brain is number, the other half is emotions now. And sometimes they mix. And numbers, when they marry emotion, they produce the most amazing decision. I'm really serious because I'm not driven just by numbers. I'm driven by feelings as well. If I was listening to a lecture and the speaker said that emotion intelligence has nothing to do with our decision, I said, absolutely wrong. It has to do a lot. Sometimes people could be even driven by emotion, blinded by emotions. Becoming cognitively aware and emotionally aware, that's what we call a whole person, right? That's a beautiful point. So she is respected as well, don't worry. Okay. Any other comment before we go? This is the first slide, which is what is. So emotional intelligence, to put it in a few words, is our ability to, number one, understand our own emotions. Number two, recognize and express our emotions constructively. Three, understand, recognize, and be present empathically with others. That's what emotional intelligence is. Can I apply that in relationships? Before we move to the relationship, let me just remind you with 5 components for emotional intelligence: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivations, empathy, and social skills. The point that Alaa made earlier, which is, oh, you are privileged, you know emotions. Emotion is something like gibberish to me. Yes, sometimes we don't have this, and I think Mary made it very clear. In our Egyptian culture, just addressing emotion is might be dala. Yes, it doesn't exist in the hierarchy of aslan of need. يعني in our hierarchy, although we have the pyramids, right? But in our hierarchy of needs, Jeremiah will tell you now, we focus only in the basic needs, and basic needs, whether it's physical, shelter, right, and security. Emotions has to do a lot with security. Self-actualization and self-awareness will go to the top of the احنا we kicked it out, we killed it, we even didn't bury, we burned it. There is no talk about emotions. Having a priest to speak about emotions might feel like, wow, why isn't Abuna talk about dogma? Abuna talks a lot about dogmas, and there are like 20,000 priests talk about dogma, but none talks about emotions. How about we talk about how we are created? And as Nardine said earlier, beautifully, God created us emotional beings. We know when we become emotionally aware that we recognize the beauty of God's creation. مش كده ولا ايه؟ Can you add to that? Because I know that you want to add to that.
No, I'm really listening because I think like I know it in theory, but it's still hard to practice. I
Hmm.
know it is because I think it is so cultural too. You're talking about the Egyptian culture, but I also think our culture today, because there's on our society, it's so productivity focused
Hmm.
that even when you're talking about the couple and taking time to do the disclosure, even
Yes.
having that time and space is not something that's built in to our day.
It's
So I think
uncomfortable.
it's so hard, but it is such a relief when you do it. So it'd be nice to have like more priests or more people reminding us to do it because it is valuable.
It's very, very lovely what you said, Habib. You know what I do is Tasoni. Sometimes and I think I mentioned that couple of times before. I tell Tasoni, you know what? I talk to a lot of people all the time. You also take care of lots of things, school and service and this. You know what? Don't drive to the school today. I'll drive you. And we spend 30 minutes, well, 22 minutes, 25 minutes in the car. Talk. We talk about anything, but it is time for us to emotionally bond, disclose, discuss, blah, blah. This is really, really helpful and healthy, right? Uh, if we don't have, if we let life drive us, we wouldn't create that opportunity. We will never find it. The other say, the other thing is, yes, when I sit and talk, usually the person in front of me talks about his own worldview, his own care, his own focus, his own mind, his own, which might sound gibberish to me as well. Somebody who is coming completely from analytical background wouldn't enjoy listening to emotions and feelings and right. But that's why we say disclose, yeah, explain why it is important, how it is important. Sometimes, actually, uh, when I talk to people, uh, it breaks my heart that I recognize right away if somebody lives in his mind. And it happened like maybe 20 times. Somebody would come and just share something. I say, you know what? Uh, tell me how and how and how and how and how. And I said, my worries is that you are living in your mind. You are not allowing yourself even to express or experience emotions. What point can I say, let's turn off that emergency mode a little bit? And you know what? Let us just sit with our emotions. And when that happens, I tell people they have to have boxes and boxes of tissues. Somebody once told me that he never cried. And I kept pushing the nerves here and there. And when he did cry, he never imagined that this was really, really heavy. But after that, he said, I don't know what he did, but I'm light. I can cry. I believe I can cry, right? Emotion is not just a crying, but sometimes when we are suppressing everything, living in our mind, thinking, deciding, the emergency mode, solution mode, and all of that, or working mode and مش عارف ايه mode, and we end up suppressing our emotions. One time I had a talk about emotions. I think it was in a retreat أو حاجة. And then I presented them the emotional wheel. I found it very fascinating. And people looked at that and said, what? Do we have all these emotions? And I said, well, this is how we present. Like, but you have even more than that. Because that emotion, it doesn't have the emotions of jumpy or uh, sissy. Or, it doesn't have. It doesn't have the word. But sometimes I feel like I am, doesn't have that icky thing. Or it doesn't have that exciting thing, right? Anyway, well, I think we'll give Alaa a topic about emotions to prepare for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. What does emotional intelligence do? What are the importance? What is the benefit of emotional becoming emotionally aware and emotionally intelligent? We're gonna talk a little bit about what does it mean to be intelligent, how can we apply it. But what is the benefit from what we said so far? What do you think? Is there any benefit? مش لازم علاء، ممكن حد تاني. لا انا اقصد what is the benefit in general يعني. Go ahead. Yes.
I found a benefit becoming emotionally intelligent is it helps me guide my day to day. It helps me figure out what I'm actually enjoying or why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because it's also like being emotionally intelligent isn't just like I feel happy, I feel sad. There's discomfort, there's a bunch of other emotions, there's like pressure, there's obligation, there's a bunch of different
Yes.
So becoming emotionally intelligent has allowed me to figure out what actions actually bring me joy.
Absolutely. You know, actually, what you're saying now is amazing because emotional intelligence is one of the best tools for becoming resilient, coming back from setback. And that's a beautiful thing. Knowing what's going on in your daily life, sometimes Nardine will ask people to have an emotional log. Okay, write down how you felt here and what is the intensity, what happened before, and how becoming aware. You don't need to have that emotional log written down because you already are recognizing everything and reacting to it. Sometimes we help people by that, but if you are aware, it's beautiful. That's amazing, Ahi.
If you aren't aware, then sometimes you just become stagnant and you like stay stuck in a routine or in a situation where you
Yes.
don't understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
You find your day is being stolen. I'm really serious. And sometimes when one day is stolen, it's gonna be a month. And after that, it's gonna be a year.
Day has passed by.
And vanished, right? That's a beautiful prayer. Etain, what else? What do you think is the importance of becoming emotionally intelligent? Etain, go ahead.
Avoiding to cross the line with someone.
أيوة. برافو عليك. برافو عليك. It helps a lot and a lot and a lot of creating what we call a healthy boundary without crossing the line with somebody. So it helps with communication with others. It also helps with understanding how to trust others, how to trust myself. Emotional intelligence and trust, they are back to back. Because is it me or is it my emotions or is it the situation? Right? Aware of me and the others and the whole atmosphere. So I will draw lines. And actually, in the past maybe 3 months, I find myself repeating a lot and a lot and a lot the word inner boundary. And I tell people we need to draw boundary outside, but sometimes I also need to draw boundary inner. I don't want people's word or actions or reaction to affect me negatively if it doesn't. Like, I don't want people, especially if we are living with somebody who is really hurtful all the time. No, I need to have that inner boundary. Emotional intelligence will tell you that no, this is not who you are. Becoming aware. Somebody making you feel miserable? No, actually, I'm not miserable. Emotional awareness, I'm feeling miserable now because he wants me to feel miserable, but I'm not. I'm really serious. This is crucial. Bravo, Arik. 18. 18, go ahead.
Prevent burnout.
Ah, that's the PhD dissertation I was reading. It is. Emotional intelligence prevents burnout. It's a preventive measure for burnout. Tell me more, time.
Just trying to shove everything
Under the rug, right?
all the time. It just people reach a point of just can't take it anymore, and then you just shut down and
Absolutely. Because the word burnout is so much associated and correlated to emotional exhaustion. If I'm emotionally intelligent, I wouldn't reach the point of exhaustion. I will always recognize my emotion, express it, manifest it, regulate it. It wouldn't be always under the to the point that I have no gas anymore. My car can't move it. I have no energy. I'm depleted. Go ahead.
I'm not very good with theory, but if I take it to the analogy,
Yes.
yeah, Last week I had to do some manual work, so I used the drill. And I see that emotional intelligence allows me to understand myself and the partner, and I can use that drill effectively to align it, to put the screw where I want, rather than pushing on the drill when it's a crossway, hurt myself and damage everyone around. So it's the same energy, same operator, but I didn't have emotional intelligence to understand how I feel and how the partner feels.
Oh,
I use this energy as destructive rather
yes,
than using this as constructive.
yes,
The other analogy that here comes to my mind, you do surgery, so you are doing surgery, you have a scalpel, and if you don't have emotional intelligence, you might be holding that scalpel or receiving it from your assistant in the wrong direction. You're actually going to cause damage to yourself,
oh,
to your assistant, to your patient. Where if you have emotional intelligence, you are clear, you understand what the partner feels, how you feel, that scalpel will be a tool to do something useful rather than something harmful. So this is the two analogies.
it's beautiful.
You can make this one in real big words.
No, no, I will use the word precision and efficacy. Precision and efficacy, what do you think? I think,
Love it.
yes, precision and efficacy, what you are talking about now, becoming precise, high quality, achieving high standard, and enjoying the process.
Through understanding your emotions
Yours
and the partner
and the
emotions
others.
to get them aligned,
Yes,
if you can. But it's really, really
Which-
hard work.
which will go to what Nardine said earlier about productivity. If we live in a world focused only on productivity, emotional intelligence will improve that productivity. Because instead of wasting and wasting and wasting, trying and repeating and fixing, repairing, why don't we try to take our time? Imagine, as you said, like working with that drill and you are tired and you have been working, so nothing works. You break this and you break that. You know what? Take a 5 minutes break, take a drink, have a moment, deep breath. You're gonna approach it with a higher quality because you are emotionally aware that now I am tired. I cannot just open somebody's belly and get the baby out. I'll take the heart out in that case, right? Something like that. Something like that. Any other thoughts of importance of emotional intelligence, Jeremiah? Ah, you know how to choose your words that will not hurt him, right? That's beautiful. That's amazing. Anybody else? Any thoughts? Go ahead.
Building off of that, it's also realizing when it's time for a conversation and when isn't.
Ah,
Because I think some people like, well, you're feeling something, I'm feeling something. Just sit down and figure it out right now. What are you feeling? And the other person
doesn't have to be right now. Right?
feel what they're feeling and figure out how they're feeling and figure out how they want to communicate it. And for some people, it'll take longer.
Yes.
And so being able to recognize in yourself, okay, I want to have this conversation right now, but they're not ready to.
Yes.
And like I'm creating a new problem.
Absolutely. عارفة, many times when it comes to even relationships and marriage and family and so forth, you find one partner is what we call like not aggressive but spontaneous. Uh, while we are talking, if something comes in his mind, he would say it. If we are fighting, no, let's fight now. So I was dealing with someone like that, and I tried to tell him maybe the right now thing, maybe that's what's causing all this problem and escalation. I said, but we have to discuss it. I said, yes. How about when something happened, your wife will tell you, we are not going to talk about it right now, but let us put an appointment today. We're going to talk about it Monday at 5 o'clock, Tuesday at 7:30. Not right now, but having that appointment will put peace in your heart that she's not going to escape with that. We're going to talk about it, right? He loved it, and it worked. The right now thing, while everybody's brain is flipped and everybody's fighting, there is no rationality, and people will end up escalating, right? That's a beautiful point. Becoming emotionally intelligent, you know that my brain is now not in the right mood to talk. You know what? we'll talk about it later, but let us put an appointment for that. For the other person who cannot sleep at night if he doesn't talk about it. He will sleep now. Go ahead.
Very good to Jeremiah is that
Yes.
sometimes you say things the way you said, then Sia is saying it doesn't have to be right now. You don't understand where you are in your mind when discussion goes. So, like 3 days ago, I was trying to break the kitchen, not to break the kitchen,
Yes.
break the fear of the kitchen, and decide to make something. So it sounds like so simple, nothing. But to me, it was just like, hey, I'm so focused, I don't want things to go miss. And I wanted to say something, and the way I said it was completely like out of okay, not okay. And the girl I met, she smiled and said, okay, fine. Then the day after, I'm telling the girls, I said that, I said, go and say that you said something wrong.
Yeah.
And to go and say that you said something wrong and you find that your partner knew that was wrong, knew whatever. What are the solutions? This little young lady said, next time, say, okay, I hear you, but can we talk about it later?
Hmm.
But what you don't get is that minor things that you are doing might be so major. Like for me to be in the kitchen doing something, it's nothing for you girls. But for me it was, hey, I'm so focused. I'm actually more focused than doing surgery because it's new to me. It's so truly, I was just like at the peak of, hey, so focused. Don't make the roads again. Don't make this. And all of a sudden, I find that.
And by the way, the rice needs to remain inside whatever you are cooking in, not outside.
And you find that what comes from you is ridiculously unacceptable, but you did it because you think you are you are flying to the moon, making some rice. So it's understanding what your partner is going through.
Yes.
Then when he says something yucky, you as a girl, you think, okay, I'm fixing it.
I think that's not.
So it's not about you, it's about the rice, yeah. Maybe the family decision will be never to make rice again,
So
right?
the lesson you learn is just like the words that come from your mouth, truly.
Yes.
I'm grateful. When you're younger, they say they don't go back. No, in good relationship, they go back. In good relationship, if they understand why you said this way, that's deleted. Bye bye. اتمسحت وانتهت واترمت في الزبالة.
Repair is good. Repair is good. Yes.
So you have to do the repair part as well, not just say.
Yes. Repair is
Like,
good.
okay, you do the dishes, so you don't do the rice, the rice and the dishes. So I just support your words about saying things. What comes from your mind if you're not emotionally connected, or you're emotionally like at high.
The opposite is also true. When you are emotionally intelligent, you know what to say that doesn't hurt people, even if you want to give feedback, right? That's what you meant as well, right? Yes. We are all eyes looking at you right now. Right. Any other comment? Any other? I see somebody wants to say something. Any other comment?
I don't know if this has to do with emotional, but it has to do with communication thing too. I think when we talk about emotions, especially people that have been like, if you're a couple or things like that, sometimes you assume, well, they know how I feel, they know this. But I think there is a cultural thing of also naming it and talking about the emotion and saying it even if it's obvious.
Yeah.
Because there's something about hearing words rather than, again, I think it goes into the whole rush and we're just rushed and we don't want to take time to really go through and this is how I feel and this is da da da. But I think that's an important part too. So
Absolutely.
really big fan of your communication comments.
Absolutely. Yes. Go ahead, Yahya.
I also think like sometimes it's not like you or like your partner, like let's say it's like it's a friendship.
Yes.
Like a third person will get in the way of it. Like a third person will
Oh.
come and say, oh, like Mira said this about you and you and you, and then she will go to Mira and say, Natalie said this and this and this. And
Wow.
like it gets heated up so much. And
Yes.
like, oh, I'm not talking to her. I'm not talking to her.
Absolutely.
She comes to me, and then
Yes.
get mad at each other because of a third person that like shouldn't even like be in this, you know?
An emotionally intelligent person will know that am I disappointed at Mira or am I disappointed at what I think Mira said? And I need to go and clarify, right? That's what you're saying. Because second-hand delivery of information, people might have agenda, or people might not know exactly how this is impacting you. Maybe they are saying the truth, but they don't know that the truth hurts sometimes. Directly. Absolutely.
Other than just believing someone that could be making stuff up because they're like jealous or they're mad at you for something else.
You know, Habibi,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, what Nardine said earlier about maybe I think the other person knows how I feel, sometimes also I might think that the other person meant to say something to me, but he did not. So I kind of mind read and predict and precise and precision and all of that. Why don't I go and clarify? Right? Go ahead.
Thing of like kind of confirmation bias where if you have some type of feeling and then somebody says something, you might interpret it to like confirm what you're already feeling.
Yes.
So if we're in like a situation with the girlies and
So
talking whatever, and it's like, oh well,
is that really what she meant, or that's my bias, right? That's it. Absolutely. Because sometimes when I think of me or whatever, I will end up always assuming that, oh, she doesn't like. Yes. Or if I have an idea that, oh, they don't like me, so anything they do, I will translate it as through that bias block, right? Absolutely, حبيبتي. Any other comments? احنا right now we have still like 15 minutes. But in those 15 minutes, we're gonna go quickly شوية on what it is that we can use emotional intelligence as an application for relationships. So, relationships, number one, the most amazing relationship in this whole life is what we call romantic relationship. How can emotional intelligence be applied or utilized in a romantic relationship? What do you think? Romantic means between two members, in our case, man and woman, male and female. They have intimacy, they have relationship, they are building a relationship, they are dating, they are going out, they want to know one another. How emotional intelligence can help in that? Or what role does it play? What do you think? I want to hear you, Bert. I can talk, I have words in front of me, but I want to hear because this is really more richer than me just talking. ايه رأيكم؟ How can emotional intelligence be utilized in a romantic interaction or a romantic relationship? I Go ahead. Ah, that's beautiful.
Sometimes we judge before we get to know the person.
Absolutely. Maybe I will use what you said, but go ahead first.
Sometimes we see someone and like this one very much, but when you get to know this person, it's not the same as
Absolutely.
you. And sometimes you see someone and say, "Ah, no, it's not gonna happen." And then when you talk to this person, you feel that's the best person you can
Absolutely.
talk to and you can connect with.
I was exactly gonna say exactly what you said. So basically, I need to be emotionally aware. In a relationship, it's either I like someone and then I find myself driven to talk to him, making decisions, rushing, and all of that without recognizing my real emotions. I'm actually, maybe I feel I want to just get into a relationship وخلاص. So I judge the appearance, but I don't know how this person makes me feel. Yeah, or I miss an opportunity because of emotions as well. I'm afraid to be in emotions. I'm anxious. I have that emotional relationship and anxiety that prevents me. Every time I want to talk to someone, I feel like there is a barrier. There is something pushing me away. In that case, no. Emotional intelligence is this is me. I am afraid of that, but I know that he's not the enemy. He's not gonna bite me. He's not a shark. He's not. Why don't I do? Because I'm emotionally aware, why don't I do some breathing, some reassurance, some confirmation that, you know what? let's give it a try. Let's talk. Let's go out. Let's interact. I have صدقوني حبايبي I have been in so many relationships, not طبعا outside Tasoni, لا, so many relationships for other people where I experience and witness people started a relationship, let us go and talk, and few months later they start to build emotion. And by the way, Bardo, I want you to get it right. When two people meet together, there is a seed of emotion. We don't prevent that. But that seed is growing in a healthy way, making you happy, content, fulfilled. You wanted to see the person. You wanted to talk to him because you feel like there is a bond between us and he is compatible to me. And God willing, he is with me, creating something fascinating. He's creating God's plan in my life. He is with me, gonna be a lovely future family, a lovely future small church. Together, we will have an amazing fruit after marriage, and that fruit will be our kids and our babies. You know what? When people feel like that and rationally, so either I know that it is my emotion that pushes me to get into a relationship وخلاص, and I end up talking to anybody I see, that's wrong, or it is my emotion that prevents me from opportunities after opportunities after opportunities, and that's also, I don't want to say wrong, but that's my emotion. Becoming emotionally intelligent is recognizing my emotions. This is my fear. Let me overcome that because it might be affecting me now. And usually, when we do like assessment and so forth, one of the questions we ask, how does this affect you? Does it have a negative effect in your social life, in your future? And we end up noticing that, oh, I never thought that it has that dramatic effect on me. Knowing, recognizing how this is affecting you uh, is crucial step. I usually tell people حاجة من الحاجات اللي أنا بحبها عشان analysis والقصة دي. I tell people if you want to evaluate anything, just sit down and do what we call cost benefit analysis. Today, what is my behavior? What is my actions? What is my يعني attitude, mindset, blah 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 blah. How much does it affect me? Not money, but it could cost me relationships, it could cost me future, it could cost me. And what is the benefit? And when I look at cost benefit, I know, oh, يعني somebody coming مثلا smoking or taking weeds, أي حاجة. So I tell them, just do a cost benefit analysis. They do a cost benefit analysis. So cost. Money, health, future, blah, 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 blah. What is the benefit? Numbing, nothing. They look at that. What am I spending my time, my health, and my money for? And so forth. Stop. Relationship. I am jumping between a person to the next, and all the time it is costing me. What is the benefit? There is no benefit. Type. I am avoiding all the time, pushing under the rug. It is still costing me. What is the benefit? Nothing. So cost benefit analysis with emotional intelligence will tell you this is who you are. This is your anxiety. This is, you know what? Let us deal with it. Let us, through the grace of God, be smart, intelligent to push ourselves شوية. There is a technique I think Nardine can tell us a lot about. And with PTSD, they call it flooding. When somebody مثلا had an accident in an airplane or in a train, one of the friend of mine is a priest, lost his family in a train, and he can never ride a train. Actually, every time we want him to come and pray, that was in Ontario. We have to find another transportation, and it was like just going through the track or close to the track, listening to the train was triggering for him. One of the flooding technique is to take that Abuna and put him inside the train and be with him and hold his hand and say, Abuna, we are together in the train, nothing will happen. But that Abuna refused. ليه بقى؟ it's it hits home.
Yeah.
So with relationship, we say, you know what? He's not gonna bite you. Let us go out and have fun, enjoy it, be in a public place so that you are not alone, but you are also in a private table together talking. Yeah, type and so forth. This is how we do the flooding. يعني ايه? Let us push you a little bit outside your comfort zone, open the door a little bit, and see. And have always an emergency backup plan if you feel uncomfortable, what to do, and all of that. That's emotional intelligence in a relationship. Any comment? Do you want to talk about that flooding thing? Because I just put it in a silly way, يعني. Is that how we do it, right? That's okay. Type. What else? Any comment about emotional intelligence in a relationship? I said what I have in front of me. Anything? Yes.
I like the word emotional intelligence because usually when we start maturing and we tell us to choose the right person, to make the right decision, you probably need to follow your heart. No, you need to follow your brain. So emotional intelligence gives you both brain
برافو
and
عليك.
heart.
برافو عليك. It's a beautiful point. There is another one beautiful point I'm waiting for somebody to make. Emotional intelligence in a relationship. What? And we talked about the fear or the rushing. We talked about rational or emotional or a combination of both. What else? In any relationship, it is never about you or it is never about the other person, but it's about both of you. Emotional intelligence has to do with the needs of both of you. In this relationship, am I getting anything? Am I contributing with anything? Is he getting anything? Is he contributing? It's a mutual interactive emotional floods, right? ايه تاني؟ Balance, right? ايه تاني? I know we cannot stop talking about this. This is beautiful. What do you want to say? Your face, your eyes say a lot.
Emotional intelligence.
Your hair is emotionally intelligent as well.
Thank you so much. I think I was thinking about how it's important to have a partner that's willing to work through emotions
Ah,
with you.
yes.
Because a lot of the time, yeah, you might, it gets complicated. Emotions alone are complicated. Add another person, add how you make
Oh
each
my
other feel,
God.
it's chaotic. So I think as your relationship evolves, you need to be able to have
Just,
healthy
you know why I'm laughing? Because I remember one time I was talking to a lovely girl and she was sharing with me يعني, a relationship and so forth and blah blah blah. And I asked about, so how does that relationship make you feel? You know what, Abuna, emotion is not important in relationships. What? It's about 70% of the relationship. It, sometimes we end up pushing emotions away, or sometimes we end up feeling like the partner doesn't really understand my emotion, is not there with me, right? And sometimes I need somebody to honor, respect, be with me in regulating my emotions. A big hug can comfort me, a tap on the shoulder, just a holding of the hand, a small, tiny, respectful, pure cuddling would. I'm يعني using that big sentence عشان nobody takes the word cuddling and say أبونا بيقول cuddling. No, a respectful and pure cuddling. Cuddling could be just tapping on the shoulder, could be a small hug, حاجة زي كده. Playing in the hair, حاجة زي كده. Go ahead.
Question.
Yes يا حبيبي.
We talked about fear and we talked about being like rational
Yes.
and irrational. So if we combine both, how do you think in a relationship can we differentiate between rational fear and irrational fear?
Oh, rational fear is so healthy, so crucial, so important. You need to, عشان to differentiate, to make it a very easy way, you always have to build everything on what we call evidence based. Evidence based يعني ايه؟ يعني is it me being afraid and there is nothing really to be worried about, or no, there are certain evidence that makes me wonder. مثلا speaking of fear, Is it fear in this case, or anxiety? Anxiety is when I assume that something is happening or will happen, or no, fear when I see that there is something really happening. I'll give you an example. Someone in a relationship who always lies, and every time he meets with you, he would say something, but you realize that no, he's lying. He's not saying the truth. Who tells you that when you get married that he is not gonna lie? Your life will not be built. That's a very positive fear. No, no, I need to make it clear that this is not working. Or somebody you actually sitting with him, he likes you, he assures you that you love him and he loves you, blah 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 blah. But he also had some other friends. But you know that for him, I am his fiancée or I am his wife. It's okay to have other friends. He chose me to be his wife or his girlfriend in that case or his fiancée. But having other friends is okay with me. I'm not really, uh, I'm exaggerating in his relationship with his friends. No, I know that people have others. I'm not the only one in his life, but I'm the only fiancé. فاهم أقصد إيه? That's anxiety. I'm afraid that other people might have a role in his life. Oh, he needs to have other people in his life. But you are the only fiancé. فاهم أقصد إيه? You are the only girlfriend. You are the only wife. You are the only one that he talks. And he is taking serious steps. طيب somebody مثلا who is كنت مرة بقول يعني sorry for the example I'm gonna use, no names, no places, nothing. I talk to people in the 5 continents. ف this could be in Australia مثلا, could be in wherever. Uh, One time a girl came to me and asked about her relationship, and she introduced, I wasn't in Winnipeg, I was not in Manitoba, I was far away. She introduced her boyfriend Bardo, with the definition that it's people who are dating in a healthy, pure way to get to know one another for marriage, and parents know. And I asked her about so many things here and there, blah 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 blah. Then I made a statement, and she got a bit, يعني conscious كده. I said, so when you go to a restaurant, who pays for the bill? She looked at me and said, we split. And I told her, it's okay. If he's still making his life and he's still مش عارف ايه, blah 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 blah. Then she looked at me and said, no, no, he's a doctor. قلت لها, and what do you do for a living يا حبيبتي? قالت لي, I am a student still doing my master's. No, no, no. This is the big question mark. I want you to understand that this is a flag. ليه؟ A doctor makes a good living, يعني can afford a meal in a restaurant. If he cannot afford it, we don't go every single day, we can go once مثلا a month. Or a man in our culture is always the one to provide. Yes, he needs to take you out and treat you like a lady. From time to time in his birthday, you will pay for him, but you invite him and you have to actually tell him, I am treating you today because it's your birthday. That's okay. But every time you go out for 3 years, he asks you to pay your portion of the meal, that's a flag. This is not anxiety, that's fear in that case. You see what I mean? فيو build it on ايه بقى؟ evidence based. Did that answer you شوية؟ Okay. Any other comment؟ احنا شكلنا هنكتفي بكده النهارده. Go ahead.
I think on the fear thing, that's important to like listen to your intuition, and like if you feel unsettled and you feel like a little tinge in the back of your head, like listen to that, and then see if there's evidence to see like why that could be happening, but don't ignore like that feeling of like uncertainty.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ala, what do you want to say?
Every one of us has his own home,
Yes.
and your home inside you is where you are comfortable. So if your home is more focused on success and then your relationship might be into this. Your home is more focused on I want the partner to be morally absolutely okay, then you'll be more comfortable with this. So when we are meeting people, if you find that you are uncomfortable, that you're not being home, you're spending effort to feel like, okay, I'll make this one work. To me, that's question mark. And what I mean by home, if your partner is so driven to achievement, success, and these are not bad things.
Yeah.
But if this is not where you are, you are geared into I want to be morally amazingly good. I want to be, I'm dealing with noble man. I'm dealing with your selection, your comfort will not change. You'll continue feeling there's something missing here. He's amazing, but not maybe not for you. So find how you feel in your home, and nobody can tell you what is your home. Everyone has his own home, has his own comfort zone. This is me, and it might be in the eyes of others you're doing the wrong thing, but in your eyes you know that this is not you. I'm not the one who will be so excited about you making 6 digits. I would rather if you're making 5 digits or 4 digits, and I'm feeling that you do not miss an opportunity to be the one that I look up to and say, I'm so comfortable and safe being with you. Being with you is so comfortable and safe. And that means well with it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Any other comments؟ أنا عندي ممكن 3 more slides.